I called WOJAK bottom multiple times. It pumped 4x since then. Today, I will tell you why WOJAK on Ethereum is the next 10 figures meme coin. Who's behind it, my whole reasoning, and what's coming for this asset next. The only asset that should be moving very soon, in my opinion. This is not paid. I never lied on this channel and I never will. Make sure to watch till the end. This one is for the books. It will be studied in universities. Press the like button and let's start. First of all, the coin I'm talking about is WOJAK on Ethereum. Is it 38, almost like $40 million market cap at this stage. And we definitely had a bottom in 14 million, which I was talking about multiple times. Right here I was talking about 19 million. I was outlining the level slightly lower. Right here, 2 weeks ago, I was talking about it at $16 million as well. And even 3 days ago, I was talking about a $20 million market cap. If you were buying at these levels, you probably got at least 2.5x since that levels. Now, a very important and interesting thing that matters most, in my opinion, on this thing is essentially wave structure. Many people would say that, Stan, you probably had insights about Binance US listing of this thing and things like that, and I did not. You only can say this if you're a noob, because I've seen these things in the charts. Something like Binance US listing should have been happening. Something bullish should have been happening because it was at the exact bottom of the wave 4. And let's try to actually figure out what's going to come next for this asset moving on as well. This is essentially something I'm seeing on the chart. We had our top of the wave 3. We had our expansion from the bottom levels as well. Right now, we should be printing the top of the wave 5. A very conservative type of setup, very conservative one, and to be honest, a very bearish one, is that essentially we already set up the top of the wave 5, which was slightly above the top of the wave 3, which was $42 million. Currently, it went to 55, and that's going to be a longer-term top for this asset from these levels, and we probably will be going lower and reaccumulating maybe somewhere around the levels of $15 to $20 million market cap. I'm not seeing that at this stage. But this is like, in my opinion, the most bearish, risky scenario out there. That something like this might be happening. Because in general, this is something I was talking about as well. With the bottom of the wave 4, we should be going at least to the levels of the previous all-time highs, which is exactly something that happened. If you got a 4x in this market and you could have entered with size, that's definitely a very nice type of trade for you. However, I do believe that expansion for this asset from these levels might be way bigger. The conservative setup that I'm essentially seeing, if we would like do some FIB levels from these levels as well, is somewhere in between $90 to $130 million since the bottom of these $14 million in market cap. So that's, if we would be going somewhere like that, it would essentially be almost 9x since the absolute bottom, which I called multiple times. And it's very hard in the current market to essentially imagine something like this. In the current market, most people probably think that this is the top of the wave 5. We already had it at 55 million, and we essentially are going to go lower from here. My main two arguments about us potentially going higher, because I have other target which is absolutely insane from these levels, is the fact that it's a very low liquid asset. It has very thin liquidity. The liquidity on this thing is actually similar to PEPE. It's 1:1 to how liquidity on PEPE was set up in the first place. However, if we look at the current liquidity pool, it's only at $1.1 million market cap. If we would compare these to the assets like Bobo, which definitely were not the heaviest on the market, Bobo at $1.1 million in liquidity actually was only somewhere in the range of $6 to $7 million market cap. WOJAK in comparison is at $40 million market cap. So I want you to understand that market caps, they're kind of fooling you here. The market cap is being used as a marketing tool by the people who are essentially pushing this coin to make sure that it will flip everything on the market and it will be going very high and things like that. But buying WOJAK right now, right here, is the same as buying Boba at $6 to $7 million in market cap. And we all remember, most likely, that it went to $230 million market cap, reaching the liquidity pool of $6 to $7 million, I think, in total, at the absolute highs. For some reason, though, something I feel might be happening. Again, this is just something I feel. For some reason, I have this target of $260 million in market cap for this thing. So I don't have any arguments, any reasoning, and I'm just transferring to you my feeling that I have here. Although something I do believe personally, logically, is us going from 90 to 130 million from these levels. One of the points of why this might be happening is because WOJAK essentially has the support of the biggest players on this market. We have people like Crash, we have other people who had through whales in the first place, we have a bunch of guys who caught PEPE in the first place. I think at some point of time we had the original developer of PEPE. He was essentially following the WOJAK on Ethereum X page at the same time as well. And with all the connections, you kind of can think, because everyone on the market, I don't even remember at this stage that WOJAK on Ethereum was listed on Aster first in April. Right now we get listed on Binance US. And this was the cause of this pump essentially as well, but it's all in the charts. It's not even like Binance US posting something like this had to happen. All the news they're priced into the chart. Something like this had to happen because we had to start to expand on our wave 5. And again, conservatively, we probably will be stopping here, 55 million, but let's see. I do believe that one of the main reasons for me to essentially believe we might be going higher as well is that wave 5s in meme coins, they are usually much bigger than wave 3, mainly because of the fact that these movements, they are quite euphoric ones, right? And on top of that, you have very, very thin liquidity on most of the meme coins out there, even in the previous cycles too. So this is one of the main reasons why wave 5 is more euphoric and bigger than wave 3 out there. One of the things I like on this market as well is because outside of WOJAK communities, outside of WOJAK Solana and the Ethereum one, there is no one really talking about WOJAK. Remember what was happening when Troll was pumping. Remember who was talking about Troll $150 million market cap? What type of euphoria we had on crypto Twitter? Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was making videos. No one is talking about WOJAK and Ethereum yet at this stage. So from the mind coverage, from the social part, this asset, in my opinion, definitely is not topped at this stage. We also have to focus on the WOJAK on Ethereum, the previous version of this asset, because it's essentially the same asset and the same team. And many people, they're saying that, man, oh, the previous thing only went to $140 million market cap. They even were not able to push it to billions. Such a great meme coin, everyone is using it. Yeah, guys, but you have to focus on liquidity. There was an insane amount of money in WOJAK on Ethereum when it was an all-time highs and $140 million market cap. Even currently, I want you to focus on this. Even currently, the current WOJAK on Ethereum at $800,000 market has 577K in liquidity. If we would compare it to the current WOJAK, it has 1.1 million. So in comparison, this old WOJAK is only 2 times lower in liquidity than the WOJAK that's pumping currently. So if this WOJAK would have the same amount of liquidity that the WOJAK that's pumping currently, it would probably be at $2.5 million market cap. And this is why it's very, very hard to be pushing these things. And that's why I also like actually the fact that migration happened. They also coupled their liquidity one-on-one to their liquidity that PEPE had in the first place, which means that it's easier, it's much easier to push the asset. It's always a feature in the bull market. You have this type of the liquidity and market cap ratio setup. And if you have large sexes on board, it doesn't matter. No one would be able to dump the asset anyway. They would probably be selling the sex. They have different liquidity pools, so it's all fine from that point of view. The argument is also present that Troll is the biggest meme out there, but I do believe that actually it's WOJAK. Many people are saying that it's too depressive to pump high and things like that. Is PEPE depressive? I think in a way, PEPE is depressive as well because there have been quite a few of depressive memes of PEPE, and people are eating seed oils, they eat sugar, they eat bread. Depression is how they feel on a daily basis, so you cannot underestimate this in the first place. On top of that, essentially, within the setup that the WOJAK has, there are so many memes out there in different videos on YouTube, on X as well, that people are using WOJAK. Normies, they just don't even know at this stage how is this asset called. From what I feel, and again, in my opinion, I do believe WOJAK will actually be dominating Troll, at least short term. This is something I've been calling multiple times. If you have been following this channel, you have been seeing that. And on DEX tools, WOJAK actually flipped Troll for short term already. For some reason, it has a different market cap here. But again, something I was talking about, it's not like a small wick to flip. I was talking about a proper flipping that should be happening in terms of WOJAK and Troll. Troll will be going to $30 million market cap. WOJAK will be going to at least 90. Average case scenario 130. Something I feel is $260 million market cap. Imagine WOJAK at $260 million in market cap. What would all of these people be talking about? They were screaming about Troll. They don't know this market. They don't understand these assets. I was the one who told you about Troll. $10 million market cap. I was the one who was constantly calling the bottom when we reached the accumulation phase after the first pump of WOJAK on Ethereum. To be honest, I've seen it at $4 million in market cap. I just never talked about it because I wanted to buy myself. Unfortunately, I did not. And now we'll talk about FUD points and risky points that happen on the market. There is quite an amount of FUD that is happening from WOJAK and Sol community. And they just don't know Crash, they just don't know these people in my opinion, and it's actually quite bullish because the price will only convince them to realize this. Therefore, and like this type of fight, it will be stopping. It definitely stop certain people on the market from buying currently, which means they will be buying later, which means that I will be able to take all of the money, which is essentially something that I like, I love. I don't know why everyone is graved into on WOJAK. If any WOJAK were to ever go, it would be that one. Ethereum, WOJAK is a bundle piece of shit. WOJAK at least has people that showed up for 7 months in a row. It doesn't matter if these people are poor. That's a very, very important thing because, yeah, you might see that the community on WOJAK and Ethereum is smaller. But these are Ethereum people. These are people that 30 plus year old, they have real jobs, they make money in the real world, they probably have much more money in investments, and they don't spend as much time. They're busy having a good time, right? Just living their lives. If you have a bunch of 20-year-olds who are poor, and the only way for them to push something is to talk about it constantly on social media, obviously they will be doing something like this, right? And I'm seeing like the way that these people are typing, the way that people are talking to each other, and I was a holder for WOJAK and Solana, and maybe I actually think that it's probably quite close to the bottom. It probably might be nice to be entering some currently, right? But in general, in my opinion, it's too diversified, the supply and things like that. And I see the only option for this WOJAK to overcome if Ansem and PumpFun will actually PvP and win into this one. But again, they will have to pour much more liquidity into it. But at the same time, they definitely have money. So liquidity is not an option for them if the direction of actions would essentially be taken. Ethereum, I don't know how long it will take, but Sol WOJAK will be the winner, a true multi-cycle meme. Let's see. WOJAK Ethereum holders are basically paper millionaires. You can't even sell 0.5% of the supply without instantly losing 35% due to pool liquidity, which is roughly 130k gone immediately. I don't think that that's an issue in Binance, but I've never checked it myself. I know the coin has supply control, so anyone who bought outside of the team should basically pray that the whales stay aligned and that nobody decides to market sell their entire stack. That's true. That's probably something that's present at this stage. If that happens, true chart goes straight to zero. I'm not thinking that we have things like on Giga. One guy was essentially hacked and the whole thing went down heavily, and then it essentially was all bought up very, very quickly. The coin has 43 million market cap, but there's only 600k of real money inside the pool. Yep, that's true. In my opinion, that's not a bug, that's a feature, because in the bull market, you want things to be set up like this, and that's one of the reasons why the first version of WOJAK and Ethereum, which is a same project, was never able to reach the market cap higher than $140 million market cap. No one was talking about it. As a result, you need these type of things in order to be pumping hard on this market. Don't get bothered by the WOJAK Binance US stuff. Binance US legitimately has 0 users slow. You can't pay for community, no amount of love, listings, fake beats, and Chinese bots will change that fact. That's a very interesting thing, because when Troll was published on Binance US, it was exactly right here. It pumped to, it was right here. It pumped to 34, I think $28 million market cap, and then it went down more than 3x from that levels. So there's definitely point in Binance US listing being not that bullish, but at the same time, I think I heard something they will stop providing for customers in the US, which essentially means they will probably merge with the global Binance. But it's not about the Binance US listing. It's about the fact that the team has connections. It's about the fact that most likely, as they first listed on Aster, then they listed on Binance US, there's a very, very high chance currently they will be listed on Binance eventually. And this is definitely going to be the catalyst for this asset as well. So some of the other very interesting points that actually can be bearish for this asset is Ansem posting a picture of meme coins. The guy just makes too much. He just makes too many tweets a day. Like, it's impossible to find something, right? But it's his job to make a bunch of tweets, right? So he posted something. I think it was just like 12 hours ago. Where is this tweet? How many times he tweets a day? That's absolutely insane. So first of all, PumpFun was quite a few times. It was actually posting WOJAK. I think like a month ago, around May, it was posting WOJAK quite a few times. And Ansem, let me try to check in my bookmarks. Ansem was also posting WOJAK for... No, so it's not here. So anyway, Ansem posted a bunch of memes on his page. Yesterday, I think it was Troll, and there was also WOJAK on there. And he definitely, in my opinion, does not speaking about the WOJAK on Ethereum that is out there. He's definitely most likely talking about the WOJAK on Solana. So bearish case scenario, and again, these guys did something like that with Weave. So maybe they are talking right now in the background, because in my opinion, that's actually the smartest thing that these people probably do, like from PumpFun point of view, is push another meme coin to insane highs and it's better than airdrop 100%. They will give a bunch of money to a bunch of people. WOJAK console people, like everyone will probably pour it into this community. They will win the PvP as well. It's actually a genius act if they would be doing something like this. But there may be different factors, and yeah, these type of businesses, they're often lagging, but at the same time, they're essentially the ones that are the most successful on this market. So the genius type of setup would be for Pump Fund to actually push the WOJAK on Solana, the same thing as they did with Troll. Liquidity is harder. At the same time, they have all the connection. They have all the KOLs on the payrolls as well, Shadow. They have contracts with Pump Fund as well as Ansem, most likely too. And we cannot forget that there is WIF on Solana, right? PEPE definitely went higher than WIF, but Pump Fund, with the help of the KOLs that they essentially have, they need to be bringing liquidity in the market in order to be making money, because it's like they can be actually investing like infinite amounts of money into the market, because most of them, they essentially getting back, if not even more, right? So it's actually a very, very genius thing for them to partner up with people like Ansem and pump the WOJAK on Ethereum. And that's definitely one of the main risks out there. I'm sorry, WOJAK on Solana. And it's definitely one of the main risks for WOJAK on Ethereum out there, because mainly it would lead to the fact that the PvP will probably be won. At the same time, they publicly said multiple times that they will not be taking part in any PvPs out there. May it be changing? 100%. It can be changing. And again, they have narrative for Troll. In my opinion, if I would be in the team of Pump Fund, I would never be giving out the narrative such as WOJAK to some guys on Ethereum, right? I would just battle them even with more liquidity. It would be probably better because the supply is more diversified in WOJAK on Solana, right? So it's true, like even if a couple of whales would try to dump WOJAK on Ethereum and buy into the WOJAK on Solana, they'll probably just dump the whole chart heavily. Something to counter that with is that what if Pump Fund is not behind the pumpage of Troll out there, right? Because what if Crash actually is behind the pumpage of Troll? Because he poured himself at least $600,000 into the chart of Troll, right? And he did that in between the market caps of $15 million to $55 million. Most likely, he bought like 80K more when Troll was somewhere around $70 million market. So what if it was not Pump Fund, which is very stupid of them, who pumped Troll in the first place? What if it was Crash? And if it was Crash, and Crash is pumping WOJAK on Ethereum currently, then it definitely would make sense that, yeah, it's all about Crash. These companies, they still don't understand shit. They don't understand what they should be doing in this market. And they're just sitting and chilling and waiting for retail to come, which means that Crash will essentially win with the WOJAK on Ethereum out there. Anyway, I don't think PvP is something that should take a lot of attention now, mainly because of the fact I do believe that WOJAK on Ethereum did not finish the 5-wave movement. It should be extended to at least $90 million in market cap. I do believe it should actually be reaching $260 million. Following current wave structure, present WOJAK Ethereum should be exploding further from here. For some reason, I have a number of 260 million market cap, which is quite hard to imagine at this stage. It was quite hard to imagine at 14 million it will pump to 56 in a matter of days. And this is something I was telling you as well. Like, it's a very thin liquidity asset you should be buying currently. Should be buying. I've been vocal on multiple videos. And I've been vocal about WOJAK on Ethereum, Flip and Troll. And I think this is something that will be happening quite soon as well. It's quite hard to imagine at this stage. Following conservative wave structure, if top is not in now, which is the most bearish case scenario, if we topped at 55 million, it should be topping in the range of 90 to 130 million, which is a 2-3x from current levels. There's a conservative top for the wave 5. But again, I have a target of 260 million in my mind for some reason. After that, going into long redistribution phase, more likely, where people will be buying, they will buy in the deeps, and they will just get sold on. However, the number 260 million in the market cap can be achieved through thin liquidity, and the second, explosive moves at the top of the wave 5, which is much bigger for meme coins, and this is something I was explaining already. Thin liquidity plus social euphoria is what drives these type of assets to insane highs, and wave 5 heavily outperforms the wave 3. You also have to understand, we really don't have any people on this market at this stage. Like, no one is paying attention, no one is doing anything on this market. And this is the best type of setups because I'm essentially like talking about this asset for quite some time. I think like this is a gold nugget of an asset. I think this is the only thing you actually have to be paying attention. Even people that know me, like for 10 plus years, I'm telling them straight away, like, buy this thing. They're not buying. They're not buying. And I'm telling to them at the bottom. I was telling this to someone at $40 million market cap, he did not buy. And this thing jumped 4x, right? So even these people that know me personally, they're not buying this thing. No one is paying attention. And to me, even through the list of crash memes like Uta and Troll, this one is the best. This one has the same setup with the PEPE guys. I do believe it should be expanding. And a very important thing, because something that happened already, and I've been talking about this as well, that this thing will be expanding when the whole market will be bearish. This is something that happened. I do believe that this thing can continue to expand when the whole market will be bearish as well. So you cannot underestimate the value of additional liquidity you can be getting into this market when the assets that you are holding outperforming and everything else is lagging, everything else is going down, because you have an opportunity with this new liquidity to buy everything on the market, get your allocations into a bunch of coins out there, and outperform insanely. And this, I believe, is the asset that will be doing something like this, and it's already doing it. It's already up 4x since the level I was outlining multiple times. And most people, they think at this stage that, yeah, it's probably was the top of the wave 5, and it's probably going lower from here. This is not something I'm thinking myself. I want to be vocal. I want it to be in the books that will be studied in the universities as well. A great meme coin wave. And I'm here saying that this thing will be going higher from these levels, in my opinion. And I think that this is still a very, very nice entry point, because it only has $1.1 million in liquidity, which is equal to $6 or $7 million in liquidity for BOBA, when BOBA was on Ethereum and it was initially pumping. And again, it reached the market cap of 230 million, which means that it did 70 to 80x from that levels. 70 to 80x would be putting this asset into billions. Everyone will be screaming about this thing, and everyone will remember me talking about this thing at the lows as well. So this is the video I wanted to do. Let me know what you think. Let me know what do you think about the whole setup, and if you hold any of the WOJAKs out there. And let me know if you actually bought. Because even people know me personally, they didn't buy. And to you, I was vocal many, many times. I was starting my shows, my videos with WOJAK, talking about it constantly, saying it will flip troll. Let me know if you bought the bottom. And if not, ask yourself the question, why the fuck are you even watching these videos in the first place? See you, bye-bye.